Thanks to the organizer, first of all, for accepting my paper. And I will just dive into it because I don't have enough time, obviously, to say everything. So my approach is similar to that of Paul and other papers that will follow me, but each of us has a different perspective of it. In my case, I adopt material engagement theory to try to present a theory of style as a long-term material memory, distributed in material culture, able to get potter choices in the context of making. It is a way mostly to look at the process of innovation and knowledge transmission and making sense of the patterns of change and continuity emerging from adopting a long-term perspective in material culture. So what is style? Style in archaeology has been used since the beginning of the discipline. Stemmed from the concept of type that was referenced for all objects sharing similar qualities, it became a way to make sense of the archaeological data. In its broadest usage, style is used to produce uniform description of artifactual variation and change over time. The sequences of artifacts give shape to type and then become reference for other similar objects, a vertical genealogy, where the ascent is placed upon what is new and what is not. The notion of style was hence used to gather together similar things based on shared physical properties of artifacts. It was adopted as an economic indicator, analyzed in archaeology to understand artifactual variation. In classic studies, Beasley spent his life studying Attic vessels, adopting a more conjectural way of inquiry. Mostly related to communication theory, style in archaeology was later adopted to make sense of changes in culture, but from the social strategy adopted by humans. Excuse me. That is, the similarities between things were seen as a way of communicating actively or passively social status and identity. At its apex, style was used and equated with power. A social strategy materializing things able to shape the social world. Style, however, can help us to make sense of the relation between long-term variability, memory, and distributed cognition. An interesting case study, in my opinion, is that of Kamaris work. We can have a sense of the long-term change in how memory is embedded in this long pattern of making things. We have at least two regional variations that lasted for 500 years, from 2000 until 1500, although there are elements of continuity in the past, as after Kamaris ware, which is the most interesting thing, to look at how memory is really extended and lasts for many generations. So one tradition is reminiscent to the other, and to a certain extent, they overlap and influence each other. There is also the high degree of creativity in Kamaris ware. It's almost impossible to find two identical pots, even within the same settlement, within the same deposit, as in the case of Knossos that I'm working with at the moment. So there have been also studies that in the past have analyzed the historical sequences of this class of materials, produce stylistic sequences, and also try to link Kamaris ware with the emergence of a social complexity, a narrative, an evolutionary narrative that place Kamaris ware within a system of literally an elitarian system that try to use Kamaris ware to give the idea of a pre-imposed social structure. I argue, however, that we can reverse this error and see how the effects and requirements that the style has in terms of choices and actions they have on the material world over sustained time. So what is style for me? I argue that it's not the society or the culture that determine what form specific artifacts have. They can at most determine the functional and symbolic values of classes of things, what archaeology has brilliantly started so far. But I take a step back on the whole idea that lays behind style by looking at the long-term processes in the artifactual world. So style comes to be a long-term material memory distributed in things that guide and influences action of thinking and making over many generations. So if we look at style as a long-term process of constant exploration and discovery, instead of focusing on the after effects that style had, it's possible to see it as a flowing of sequences of memories of actions abducted in things. This flowing of sequences of memories produces a specific temporal field that is perceived in the moment of engagement with things, especially with things in a certain style. And in my case studies, in the case of making something new, more than in using or discarding an object. Yeah, I'm so sorry for this material engagement theory introduction that we will give probably after me as well. But I draw upon an attempt to explore and expand and develop on the postulates devised by my supervisor Lambris Molafouris with his modern material engagement theory, met concerns with relationship between humans and material worlds. It focuses on the mutual relation between human skill and the capacities for action that the material world exerts on the mind. This framework provides a useful approach to describing how potters, in my case, produces decorations, what forces are at play in this process, and explore the long-term effects that previous creation have in guiding choices. I explore the mnemonic dimension of material engagement by building upon the process of enactive signification, introducing the notion of synecdoche to explain how style is distributed in material culture. I'm not going covering this today because I don't have time. Develop the postulates of material agency with the notion of situated aesthetic, and the attentional, intentional, protentional cycle, and the hypothesis of the extended mind, exploring how different forms of material culture act as a mnemonic system moving in time as in space. Particularly interesting are the agential and mnemonic capacity of things. The durability of specific forms over others results from the obligation that things acting in groups have with humans. As Malafruis says, we think with and through things, especially, and this is the case for style as a long-term material memory, through these specific physical qualities. Things act as extended and distributed memory processes that help other things to come into being. Those specific physical qualities of shape and decoration are memory traces. These memory traces are cognitively salient features that act in mass and think for humans. Qualities that capture or entrap the senses. Such qualities are not only sensual features as color, shapes, or form. These qualities are heightened by the presence of groups of things sharing similar qualities. Memory traces work as anchors for material memories. They are the obligation that a certain style has, the requirement that the entire sequence of past actions impose on future actions of thinking and making through material culture. These requirements are produced by the interaction that things sharing memory traces have. Like in the case of the cups from Knossos, we have here the memory traces are repetition of actions abducted in material culture, what was said at the very beginning of the panel, of the session. Cognitively silent clues that are not static entities, but as Lambros writes, indexes of our moving hands, or perhaps the trace of a creative gesture, a place where gesture, object, and trace coexist. The details of the decorations, what I'm looking at the moment, are choices, induction abducted in material culture. Actions reiterated through an inactive and open exploratory process of constant material engagement with and through material culture. We can look at the different traces and see the effect they produce and what elements are retained in material memory and which are not. This long material memory called style is a process where each creation in the present, what I call intentions, result from accumulated sequences of memories of past actions, retentions that project actions into the future, protensions. This retentional, intentional, protentional cycle is always inactive through the engagement with artifacts sharing specific resemblances, but one with another. Intentions refers to the actual energies and embodied skills of the potter in the moment of producing a specific form, from painting the lines that will make up the final decoration. The intentions are not in the potter as they are not in the pot. They are in between. It is in this exact moment that the obligation of a style, the memory is abducted in material form, elicit their agential power. Retentions are the obligation that the whole sequence of action that a style literally has a long material memory produces embed. Choices and resulting actions are mediated and guided by the material memories of previous things in a way that makes the novel creation stand within the guidelines of a series of shared characteristics. It is in this moment that the present and the past merge, guiding actions and interactions. Protensions, in this case, are actions that project into the future, the harmonic consequences of intentions and retention projected into the creation of something new that is reminiscent of the whole style. It is the anticipation of new action. And we as archaeologists can place ourselves at every stage of this chain to try to see what are the requirements and the choices embedded in material culture in the past and in the present, and have a sense of how material culture at that moment in time and in the area guided literally way of thinking and making. So, through this retentional, intentional, protensional cycle, the whole temporal spectrum is perceived as a unique single object. Each part embodies this temporal duration until a certain moment in time. This duration is expressed through certain qualities of form, the memory traces. Hence, temporalities, energies, matter, and memory are brought together. and the mnemonic and material consequences that emerges from this continual process of flowing and becoming not only retains the whole memory within the canons of a style, it's also anticipated for its materiality, future memories as memory traces part of a chain of continual interaction. The fixed form that are the pot on the right of the potter, for example, is the result of memories abducted into material culture and become distributed through memory traces. Studies then experience it as a unified structure blending all modal temporalities, structuring as a consequent action of thinking and making in a specific context of engagement. What happens with Kumari style pots? Thank you very much.